Danpei is cool. I'm glad you can play as him. That's fun. That's like in the Rocky game where you get to play as Mickey as a secret character. Is he called Mickey? I don't remember. I feel like my uppercuts aren't as fast. That's not an issue. I mean, after Dickhead, no, they're definitely not as quick. Playing the game as it's intended is just so weird. I'm gonna try play it for a bit the way it's supposed to be played, but like holding the controller in a normal way feels so unnatural for the game. I'm so used to having it like flat down, and then sort of just like spamming the buttons. But playing it this way just feels so bizarre. That is really quick. But again, anything is fast. The speed I get out of bed in the morning is fast compared to that big bastard. I don't even know what his name is. It's Onihimekai Ryu is what they say, what the announcer says. But Onihimekai is the name of the syndicate. It's the name of the gang he works for. So like, is Ryu like a title? Is it his name? Is it like, I assume it's like Ryu of the Onihimekai or something. Ryu of the group. Or maybe he's like the dragon of Onihime. Maybe he was Kiryu Kazuma the whole time. This man though is definitely not Kiryu Kazuma. This guy is definitely a piece of poo. And I don't know, I'm kind of lacking because like, I just feel so ill. It's gotten worse. I've got a sore throat. I've got an earache. I've got a headache. It's like, oh, this is the worst feeling alive. This is post Joe. This is after Joe died, and then Danpei's going around like teaching everyone because they're all like, "Wow, I want to be the next Joe," and Danpei's like, "Shut up, I'm drunk again." Do. What if Nishi's his like penultimate opponent? That'd be really cool. He fights his students at the end. I'd like that. That'd be wholesome actually. I get this isn't EA. This isn't Fight Night, but like they could have at least given the characters something different between them, so then they're just all the same character. Again, Joe's not really like a show where you can have like crazy, like unique characters. I understand that, but then just only let us play as the important ones. Don't let us play as like all of them. Do what the Game Boy one did, and just have us like play as the important characters in the story. Like they gave the enemies different like AI and different properties. Like again, Murase's more aggressive, Jose's more defensive. Joe seems to go for cross counter all the time because it just makes sense. But like, I don't know, man. Different styles, different moves, different like play styles. Even it is boxing. You know, you can do that. You can do that. I get it's difficult, and I get also that's too much effort, but like clearly effort has been put into the game. It's just, I mean, someone had to draw all the shit and voice act it and do all this and make good music, because the music in this game is genuinely actually like really good. Maybe it's not the best music in the world. It's certainly not the best video game soundtrack ever, but like it's a good soundtrack. You can block high and low. Why? Effort has been put in to do that. Could just had one block that like automatically blocks high and low. Like, oh, here it is. He's punishing Wolf. He's breaking his jaw again. Oh man, Danpei didn't have to do that. He really didn't have to do that. Oh, imagine if the game was like God Hand. Can we have a boxing game that's done like God Hand? Can we have another game that's made that is like God Hand? That like from the back beat 'em up thing. Like, I don't care if there's not like the make your own moveset bullshit. I say bullshit as if like I hate that. I love that that's a feature. It's so cool. But like, can we have another game that's like that? Because honestly, man, God Hand is genuinely one of the best games of all time. Like from a pure gameplay style like standpoint, it is so weird. It's a tank controlled beat 'em up. Like, it's so bizarre, but it's so good. No, he's still fighting. Wow, Wolf's serious. His jaw may be broken, but his spirit isn't. Rikishi, what are you doing here? You're dead. Do 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 do. Rikishi's built different, man. He's got his own theme song. Like, unbelievable. Not only does he have his own theme song, it's used as an ending theme. Most of the time, it's after he's dead as well. Like, what a guy. Yuki Koyao. If I started doing the screaming from that song, I think I actually would die. Using a different move, why not? Having a bit of fun with the game, why not? I don't have fun with it anyway. I do actually, I do have fun doing this. It's just nice for me to just turn my brain off for a bit. If I'm like, oh man, I can't work on the stories, on the comics. The comics that I've just not done for ages, I had a look. I'm like, when did I last announce that I was doing a chapter? Oh, start of last month. Brilliant. I've made no progress on it. And I'm intending on restarting it for the 7th time. Can you imagine having a comic and restarting it so many times? Like, in my aim to have like an action, not even like an aim for perfection, but just the aim for like an actually decent story, I'm willing to spend 2 years just restarting and starting new comic. Not even new comics, it's the same comic, but just different versions of it every single time. It would drive a lesser man insane. It would drive a stronger man insane. And I think I've already been driven insane so long ago that like this is just normal to me. It's at the point now where it really frustrates me. But it's like, it's not that I'm afraid of failure. It's just that I'm like, it is deflating. Doing the same thing over and over again, even if it's not the same. Because they're all different, all the versions of it have been different. But like, man does it just deflate you after a while. Especially when you're like, oh, I've had an idea. Amongst those different rewrites, there have been other ideas as well, other potential rewrites, other potential versions that just never saw the light of day. But like, it is sad to realize I'm there thinking like, oh, it's only been a year. No, it's been 2 years. And I've got nothing to show for it. It makes me really upset. It does genuinely make me really upset. I'll be happy when I can actually start doing it. Because I'm like, wow, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with the way it's going. It's all I've ever wanted is to just do the story and be happy with it. But it is just that thing of, I just want to do it. But I just don't have the energy to do it. I do, but I don't, if that makes sense. It's like, I've almost lost the drive. And that makes me a very sad. A sad ape. Sad stuff happens in Joe, but like the saddest thing by far has to be Carlos's fate. Like, it's horrible. It's such a lovable character like Carlos. He loses his best friend. His best friend just fucks off and doesn't appear ever again after Carlos loses to Jose. Well, he has like an interview where he's like, yeah, Jose did this shit. Bye-bye Carlos, essentially. But then, like, when Carlos is put into, like, a home or whatever... oh, no. That's, not a home. What is it? He's put somewhere. He's put into some kind of, like, recovery center thing. But I think that's only in the anime. Again, a reason why you should watch Season 2. Because Season 2 actually improves on the manga, which is crazy. But even then, they could have put, like, Harry. Was it Harry Roberts? They could have put him in... Oh, no, Robert. Is it Robert or Harry? I don't remember. Robert? But they could have put him in. Just to be like, hey, Carlos, my best friend. Carlos calls him his best friend. Like, Robert saved him. Is it Robert Garcia or something? No, it can't be. Or is it Harry Roberts? But he comes in and he's like, he saves Carlos from the slums, turns him into a great boxer, but then as soon as he becomes brain damaged, he just fucks off and leaves him. It's so sad. The Season 2 only episode, the anime like only bit, where it's like Joe leaving Carlos, and there's Carlos being like, fight, Yabuki, fight. And like Joe starts crying. Like that is such an amazing scene. I love that shit. And someone in the comments mentioned like how at the very end it looks like Carlos's silhouette becomes a gravestone to like symbolize like how either Joe's gonna die or like how Carlos's dream has died, and it like lives on within Joe. It's like that's so cool. But Carlos's fate, man. He comes in, becomes the best character ever, and then just gets the worst fate. Like, Rikishi's fate is bad, but, like, at least he dies. Carlos doesn't. Carlos just has to live with this. And it's like, oh, man. You've just reduced this amazing character to just, like, nothing. I guess it fits. It fits with, like, the whole, how, you know, dark a Joe can really be. But still, you just kind of want him to, like, get better. You just want him to spring up to life and be like, hey, it's me. It's me, Carlos, I'm back. I don't know, man. Wishful thinking. If I was, like, 14 again, I'd start doing fanfictions. But nah, I'm not about that. I also can't write well enough to do fanfictions. Are you joking? Oh, God. That actually reminded me of something I saw. I saw a video about the infamous fanfiction. What's it called? Pink in Peril? Is it Pink in Peril? The Power Rangers one? Where it's just ridiculous. And the video was like the most disturbing fanfiction of all time. And it's like, I read it. I actually sat and read the entire thing. And I'm like, there's a couple bits that are like quite bad. There's a couple bits that are really bad. But like, aside from that, and obviously the premise of it, it's not the worst thing in the world. This is by no means the worst thing. There's certainly worse out there. For it to be called the worst thing ever is just not true, really. Not true. I'm not going to mention the things that happen in it, but they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. It's at the end of the story. If you know what it is, it's the Pink Power Ranger gets attacked, or gets kidnapped, and then Rita Repulsa makes like an evil new monster called like, I don't even know, Torturer or something. And it's just like, it's just 6 chapters of just like torture. But the thing is, I think it would be worse if the torture was like well written. If it was well written, I think it would be worse. But the fact is it's just so much of it is like, there's the odd really grim bit, like really gross, disgusting bit, but again, it's only at the very end. And most of it is just the same shit. And a lot of it is like, you can tell it was written as like a fetish thing. They didn't want to make it too violent because otherwise it wouldn't be sexy enough. And you can tell because like a lot of the descriptions are just so, they're so basic and so shit. Like, it's just like, she screamed in pleasure. Ah, ah. She kept screaming. It hurt more and more. And most of it's like, ooh. There's something about like, she's being hit like a cattle prod or like some kind of like electrical whip. Potentially on a particularly sensitive part of, you know, the female anatomy. But, yeah. The worst is just this bit where it's like, please, disclaimer. There's like sandpaper upon the nipple. And the way it describes that is actually kind of a little bit gross. That's a pretty bad bit. And the bit at the end where it's just, the monster just keeps raping her. And it's like, oh, she's bleeding and shit. He's like, oh, great. Oh no, he makes his huge, massive, evil penis have the consistency of sandpaper as he rapes her. It's like, ah. Oh. Like, that bit's really bad. That bit is really bad. And the sandpaper bit in general is really bad. But, like, it's at the very end of the story. So it's, like, the worst bit of the story, like, in terms of, like, the most squeamish bit, is that bit. If the entire story had been that bad, like, if that was the beginning of it, and it continued to, like, build up in terms of, like, how depraved it was from there, then, yeah, I can see why maybe it would be considered the worst thing ever. But, like, it just isn't. I'm sure there's worse. I'm sure there's worse. My friend told me about this place called, what is it, Archive of Our Own. And that apparently has, like, some really horrific stories there. really horrific. I've not known about this, to be honest. To be fair, that seems to be how it is with me. Like, I just don't know about this shit. I know a lot about like, internet culture and stuff. You know, I know the Chris Chans, I know the Daniel Larsons. Thanks to Smokey MC. I know other stuff, but like, nah. Archive of our own. I don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. Crazy, to be honest, considering the fact that like my entire life I grew up being like, oh, DeviantArt is a fetish site, and now guess what? I'm on it just to promote my non-existent comics. Fucking phenomenal. But it's just whatever. It's whatever. I've had some funny run-ins on DeviantArt. I will be honest. I've had some funny run-ins. The guy asking me to do a roleplay about being a 7-year-old incontinent child, that was pretty good. That was a highlight, and that was in like the first week of me joining the site as well. Bro just comes up and is like, hi, can I introduce myself to you? I then discovered he's said that on numerous accounts. His account now I think has been like long deactivated, but he's still crazy shit. And he's like, you want a roleplay? And I'm like, hey, go ahead, bro, I've got nothing better to do. As Knuckles would say from Sonic Shuffle, I've got nothing better to do. And plus it's like story writing, isn't it? Fair enough. This guy seems like a chipper individual. What could possibly go wrong? In the words of Bubsy the Bobcat. Oh, he sends me this giant paragraph about how he's going to play a 7-year-old incontinent child who wears nappies naturally because he shits himself. And then I'm like, what did I say? It was something like, dude, I feel this makes me hella uncomfortable. To me, it seems like a fetish. I think he just put okay, which seems to be a thing with DeviantArt. Is that like everyone seems to just write okay? Like you say anything, you can say anything in your response, and they'll just reply with okay. If it's good, if it's bad, if you're telling them that their mother looks like the underside of my foot, they'll just put okay. It's like, bro, I'm put effort into like what I comment to you, and yet here you are. You could even come in with like a reply that is. You could come in with a comment that has like personality to it. I reply, and then you just put okay. It's dumb. It's dumb. I had one. He came in. It was like, wow, Lucky Luke vibes. Nice. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. I'm a fan of Lucky Luke. I like it. And he's a cowboy. Just makes sense. And then his response was just okay. It's like, bro, if you don't want to say anything, just like my message and just move on with your life. Like, you don't have to, you know, you don't have to give me the world's worst reply. I'd rather you just put K or thumbs up. That would have still annoyed me if you put thumbs up in a comment. But like, okay is just so rude. Just put the effort in. Come on. I have met nice people through the site. I have. And the fetish stuff has it has risen at some point. But as long as you just don't like look for that shit, you'll be okay. The more you like normal artwork, the less and less you'll be seeing fetish stuff. What is really annoying that I've discovered is if you type in my username on DeviantArt, and God forbid you don't have the mature filter on, where you can't see like mature artwork, it'll come up with a bunch of like naked wrestling hentai, and it's like, what the fuck? My DeviantArt username is Mandasanj, which there we go, that's how you pronounce it. Why is it Mandasanj? Well, you see, it's kind of funny. I like Lupin the Third. The guy who made it went by Monkey Punch. Okay, makes sense. Mandasanj is French for monkey hand. It makes sense, right? How do you then get from Mandasanj to naked wrestling hentai that has nothing to do with the words man, de, or sanj? I don't understand. How does that work? How does that ever come up? And it gave me the shock of my life. They're like, oh my god, there's probably people. What if someone looks at my art and then they find all this shit and think it's from me? Like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to deal with this knowledge? How am I supposed to just say to these people, hi guys, can you delete this shit because it's making me look like a perverted boy? And it's like, what do I do? What do I do in this situation? Oh, man. It's crazy. Thankfully, no one's mentioned that, but like, I wish someone had. I wish someone had. But no, I have met nice people through the site. But like, oh my god. Some of the people, not even some of the people, it's not really been the people who I've met. It's just been more of, I don't know. It's weird. And there's me who's like, oh, it would be funny if I drew in a style like Fist of the North style where everything's really buff. Because it's just fun. You know, I like the older stuff. It would be nice to kind of pay homage to that. Then to discover that that is a massive fetish, apparently. And I'm like, ooh, these pictures are getting a lot of likes, you know, and a lot of views. Why ever come? Well, come is the right word, I think. Because someone has definitely been jerking their gherkin to some of my pictures. And it's like, there's nothing remotely sexual about my pictures. They're just huge. Yeah, to a stupid degree. But like, bro, I just like Fist of the North Star. Them being buff is just so fun. It's just a style choice. I don't know why it's like that. I love that it's like that. I think it's great. But like, I can tell you one thing. I don't look at Ken Shearer and think, oh, I'm going to whack out my attacker. You know, and go boing on the desk and start whatevering, doing unspeakable actions. No. That's not how I think. But it's just bizarre. I mean, don't knock it. But if it was just like, oh, I'm attracted to like muscular people, that's cool. But the artwork is like, they look like fucking Tetsuo from the end of Akira, when he's this big like fleshy growth. Like, they're so unbelievably huge with the muscles. And it's like, okay, muscle, fair enough, right? But like, this much, I don't know, man. I don't see the appeal of this. I don't see the appeal of this much muscle. Sorry, Joe. They'd hate Ashno Joe. They're all bantamweights. They're all like 60 kg. I don't know, man. DeviantArt's a weird place. He's got to defeat his guilt. It's like the end of Double Dragon 2. You've got to defeat your own guilt and your own conscience. It was my fault Joe died. I pushed him too far. Oh my god. Poor Danpei. I knew he'd be sitting. I was just about to say, I bet the pose is him sitting down.